It's good to go because we're live.
Here we go. You're live. Go. Yeah.
Woo! We're live. Welcome again, Andrew. Good morning to you. Good evening to you, should I say, in Sydney.
Yes. Good evening, and good to see you again, Mark.
And what's been going on today in Melbourne?
Well, Melbourne, very hot. Been on court all day. It's very hot, and you've got to keep your fluids up to last the day. Some amazing matches overnight. You had Djokovic just get up against Popyrin. Great Australian, did proud, got a set off him. But, just a champ. He got psyched up in his match and was very clinically solid. You had Casper Ruud, who just won against...
Andrew, just before you gloss over. So, obviously, a tight match. Nothing much between your man and Djokovic. Yet Djokovic, yet again, finds a way to come through.
That's right. Key points, playing big, the right shots on the big points.
Okay.
Yep. And all, the ones who are up there in the top 10, they're making good decisions under pressure every time. Yep.
So some people know what to do and train it, and other people arguably don't know what to do and don't train it. So when
a good coach will help them train. Some people will see it themselves and copy some of the good mentalities at the right time.
Yeah. What I'm probably getting to is that there are different levels of clinical play, because clearly, just to get into Grand Slam means you are world-class, man. And to get through to the second week, you are more than world-class. But somehow, at the top of the pile is Djokovic and others. And as somebody says, it's got very little to do with fitness and stroke play at that end. So with great coaches like you coaching people, nevertheless, there's a nuance that gets you to up every other level.
Look, you mentioned something there, fitness. Your fitness trainer is so important, all right, to last 5 sets. These are 5-set matches. Some of these guys have gone all night and could be in the summer heat. So your fitness trainer is part of the team. Your coach is good. But the fitness trainer, and you look at Nadal, how he has his water and stops and refreshes. He's not thirsty at that point. He's getting ready for the 5-set match. He's preparing his body.
And then come back the next day or the day after to play yet another. Oh, my God. Can't even think about it.
Well, that's their job, entertainment. Yep.
What else has been going on before we get into our favourite topic of doubles?
All right, Casper Ruud in the singles just won over Purcell, one of our Australians. That was 1 point, 2 points in it. 5 sets right to the end, but he gets up, the seeded player goes through. You've got Jordan Thompson put up a great fight. It's amazing. A few of the Australians got knocked out, but a lot of the seeds are sort of making it there. The women, Iga, she was down, and there's something about her. She fights her way back and wins the match. There's that rule again for you. Just good under pressure. You had, I'm just trying to see some other key points. Sabalenka, she's through to the third round. We've got a few Aussies in the third. We've got Storm Hunter in the women and Alex de Minaur in the men's in the third round. So the fight goes on, and you're trying to make it to the weekend. That's the key thing. You're trying to survive this to the weekend, and then it really goes down to business now.
Yeah, and a few $100,000 better off in your back pocket, in your bank. Cool. You've been under pressure a few times, which rarely seems to be talked about when you're coaching technique or improvement. And it sets up my chat, I think, for a week Friday, which we talk just about pressure. So that's cool. Have a look. Can you see how Gaby and Erin are doing in their doubles?
Yes. Now I'll give you a live feed, and what's a really good thing is for our viewers, you can go on to the Australian Open and have a little look at every match, and it'll give you information about how they're going, and they're live at the moment and they're up. So they're in a good position. They're up 5-1. In fact, they're right on set set point right now. So, yeah.
The reason why I'm asking Andrew about Gaby and Erin is that we have a fantastic interview today with Dan Kiernan. Dan was on the tour, didn't quite make it to the big time, but was, jetting around or backpacking around the globe, and tended to be a better doubles player, much more comfortable on the doubles court with a partner than he was on the singles court. Louis Cailleur was his mentor, so he's taken his frameworks and stuff, and Dan has had great success on the men's doubles tour with Lloyd Glasspool that he's coached since the age of 11. And latterly, last year, he picked up Gaby and her partner, Erin, that came together for the first time out of nowhere. And they won the US Open women's doubles. And interestingly, the first doubles team for 96 years that didn't have a recognized singles player playing in the doubles team. So they played doubles. So that's why so we're interviewing Dan, who will precede this conversation. Interviewed him live from the Melbourne Arena, and Gaby and Erin are his latest team. So that's why I wanted to know how they were getting on. 5-1 up first set against.
He'll be a happy chappy. They've already won the first set.
Oh God, I'm so pleased. So Dan owns the Soto Tennis Academy in Soto Grande, not unnaturally. Great man, Geordie, commentating on BBC. And he gave us half an hour live from Melbourne on the inside track of how he's training Gaby and Erin to be top doubles team. What's your view of doubles?
Doing a good job.
Do you play doubles or you're a singles man? What about you?
I play both, but as you get older, you become a bit more doubles orientated, I think. And I still play every day. I love it. Yeah, and doubles, there's a whole lot of rules like serving down the tee, so you get 50-50 with your partner. And, yeah, it's really about good communication.
Okay, so in my coachings around the world, we tend to play the way that was handed down to us, that was handed down to the people that handed it down to us. It doesn't seem to be the amateur game, too much innovation of the new form of doubles. So they seem to be pretty besotted about covering their line. They seem to be pretty besotted about getting their own lobs. This word called poach that I hate because it's your job. If you're near the net, go and get the ball. You're not poaching, it's your job, man. So in our interview with Dan, he demolishes all that with his Geordie charm.
Yeah, look, I agree with all that. If you can play cross court, that's good. Lobs and touch shots in doubles is so important. And I like how, anything up in the air, it is yours. You travel back. If you're in trouble, you can call. That's an important thing. You can call, and the person who calls is the person furthest off the net, because you can see them, but they can't see you. So, there's some really simple rules for your viewers today. And good double players.
Jamie Murray and his, what did he call it?
He called it the nothing volley. It's a great term. You do nothing and just block it. And you keep it simple is another one. It actually worked really well, and I apply that every day with my students. I try and simplify things so that they don't break down under pressure.
Cool. So I think without further ado, we'll introduce Dan from Melbourne. And then we'll see you tomorrow for another great guest and another great chat. Anything else from yesterday's play, particularly about pressure, winning 2 points, the distillation of a few hours match normally comes down to 2 points. Any lessons from yesterday?
Probably the only story you'll hear is Djokovic was not playing as well, and he got heckled in the crowd, and then that seemed to fire him up. Nothing to do with the match. it just seemed to get him focused, and then he turned into a different beast on the court and was clinically just restricting Popperin's game. And it was just something further off the court. Yeah, but that was the thing that got him fired.
I've heard him chat before about heroes and villains, and he prefers playing in a stadium where people give him love, and he prefers that.
Yeah.
But he also said, unfortunately, that's not the case. Normally I'm the villain and the crowd hate me, and I've learned to use that
energy,
as a superpower for me to kick on.
Yep.
Tomorrow, just to let people know, it's again another fascinating discussion. So we're with Gregory Gettinger, that Andrew knows well.
Oh, excellent. Yes.
The founder and CEO of VR Mobile Learning. So he is the leader, his company is the leader in competitive tennis in the metaverse. And as you know, Andrew, he spent millions on ball physics. So the actual feel, sound of hitting the ball is proper and can be changed to different court surfaces and weather conditions, etc. So it's not like where you just wave your wand at the ball. This is proper stuff.
This is, and I actually worked with Gregory on the biomechanics of the tennis shot to make it as real as possible in VR. Gregory and myself played the first match ever from Austria to Australia. Our tennis match was virtually between those two spots.
I didn't know that. Fantastic. So
I love it. Yeah, it was good fun.
The ability to play just like you did from your living room, can play competitively with people around the world, and they have their own tournaments. So the topic is the training to win, pressurized big points in the physical world, in the metaverse. Is there a difference, and how do you train it? So that's what we got on store for us tomorrow. And people might be, excited to go and get a pair of VR goggles and be in the metaverse themselves, play anywhere, anytime.
Look, if it's raining, you can still play these days. So looking forward to that one as well, Mark.
Great. So without further ado, let's introduce Mr. Dan Kiernan.
Thanks. Bye from Sydney.
Well,
in Routliffe.
I love the background as well.
Right. So for everybody today, we actually have live in the Routliffe Arena, Dan Kiernan. Dan, long way for Soto Grande. What are you doing there?
It's a long way, but I have a little secret to give you, Mark. Actually, you've got Routliffe Arena, I believe, behind you.
I have indeed.
I wasn't allowed in to the actual Routliffe Arena, so I'm actually out on Kia Arena here in Melbourne. So I promised Routliffe, but I've only delivered Kia. But it is Melbourne. It's the real Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, we're getting ready. Main draw starts tomorrow, and everyone's very excited.
So tell me a little bit about your background. So this is about doubles, and I'm sure doubles, but yours is ladies doubles. Tell us a little bit about your background in doubles, because you were a doubles man this far.
Yeah, I think doubles has always made sense to me. I think a high percentage of people are probably more team orientated than they are individual orientated in this world. And if I'm brutally honest, I think my doubles came almost from a feeling of comfort from at the very beginning of like, I feel comfortable having someone next to me. Not that I needed them to do it, but I actually naturally, even from a very young age, I just felt I belonged. I felt like I could take a role of leadership. I felt like all of a sudden I wasn't worried about managing my emotions because I was actually worried about managing my partner's emotions, and it just worked for me.
Yeah, me too. Everything you just said. I played singles, but I love doubles. And quicker and more aggressive. Somehow it's more gladiatorial than just being by yourself playing singles to me.
Yeah, it just made sense. And even, we won the under-14, the unofficial world championships, TARBs, La Petitas, the big junior tournament. And me and myself and David Sherwood, that was 1994. And we won 10 international tournaments, unbeaten. Yet singles never quite got the same results, and I think that was probably the start of the love affair that I've had with doubles, and certainly going all the way through. As much as I did love tennis and I love playing singles. If I'm brutally honest, I probably never really felt comfortable, other than when I played in US college. Actually, when I played in US college, I never knew my score, but I knew everyone else's score on the singles court. And that was when I played my best singles, because it was still that team element. And I don't know, maybe we get into some deep, dark psychological things here, Mark, but maybe I'm distracted more when I'm dealing with somebody else than actually dealing with my own demons. And
it's the whole thing about Davis Cup, Ryder Cup, winning a point for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the psychological bit, and then you've obviously got the skill element bit as well. And certainly in terms of the skill element piece of doubles, I love being at the net.
Yeah, me too.
Really shorter points. I actually like geometry of the court. I like finding angles. I like finding spaces and finding little strategies. I also think the strategy of doubles is a little bit more set. I think you maybe have less decisions to make.
Yeah.
If you play well. Singles, you get caught up in, do I do that, or that, and then you do nothing. Whereas in doubles, even something simple as the return goes cross court. Oh, okay, I can do that. And then 1 out of 4 goes down the line. Oh, I can do that. Those simple little rules.
Yeah.
I think always resonated with me.
It
looks more random, but it's less
random game with lots of options, but actually, very few. So what are you doing out there? Because you're not there watching.
No, I'm not. So I'm out here with Gaby Dobrowski and also Erin Routliffe, who they came together. Yeah, a bit of a Roy of the Rovers kind of journey, came together last July, and a couple of months before that, Gaby had spoken to me. I'd been out traveling the last couple of years. I was on the men's tour with Lloyd Glasspool and Harry Heliavara, and then at the back end of last year, I looked after both pairs, which worked well. It was nice to have pairs in both events, and the girls just had this, from nowhere, had this monumental take off. Won the US Open, qualified for WTA finals in Cancun just in 4 months of playing. So I'm out here with those girls and see how we can start 2024.
Because to have that, tell us about that. So to have that massive improvement, which was extraordinary in such a short space of time, this is not about improving their shots, because you can't improve your shots that much in that short of time. So what was the magic?
Me. No, I'm joking. No, Mark, I think no, for me, I think it's the girls deserve every absolute ounce of the credit. But it's in terms of change, and I always think this, especially when you're in a match, but also probably in a tournament, you can impact the mental state and you can impact the tactical input. You can't necessarily impact technique too much, certainly not in a match. Within a tournament, you can a little bit, and there was a couple of little technical things on certain volleys. And it's obviously very difficult to then make someone taller, fitter, faster, stronger in that period. So in terms of the areas of performance tennis, so if I look back at that period, I would certainly say there was a big shift in mentality. And that is something that I can suggest things and I can point things out and I can use video. And I did. There were some quite extremities that I felt needed to be attacked in very honest conversations that I facilitated, which actually, and I don't know if I can say it on this, but it kind of all came and consumed down to don't be a head. Was very much the
Wow.
the slogan that we took.
That was the
And
All
it was
Blacks
all
slogan,
about,
wasn't it?
it was, and absolutely. And actually under that, we then had another 4 or 5 non-negotiables, which we agreed, but they had to do. And I think what you're doing, you see, Mark, in tennis, it's quite challenging, doubles, in this regard. You have, for many years, we tell tennis players to be selfish, to be independent, to think about themselves, to set your own goals, to have your own routines. And then we go, you're now playing doubles, now think about each other. And it's quite a challenging, a lot of these players haven't come from a team background. So there was a lot of fundamental just team values that we had to put in place, that they completely bought into, sticking together no matter what. And then from a tactical standpoint, the way that we looked at that was, it was 23 years since a female doubles team only had won a Grand Slam. So in the last 92 Grand Slams, there's always been at least one singles player that's top 100 in the world.
Okay,
So
wow.
I was told it's not possible. So it was then a case of looking and going, well, it's not possible if our girls try and play singles and we go head to head on what we're not as strong as, and the singles players clearly are. You know, they're clearly better in the ground stroke rallies. So how do we form an identity that is then able to find a gap? And again, they have to have the skill to be able to do it. They felt they were doing it, but they didn't quite do it with an absolute unconditional commitment to it. And they set about, and it wasn't about winning the US Open. I don't think they thought they could win the US Open. I don't think I was sitting there thinking they were going to. It was about developing and getting better at that game style in order to give them a better chance of having success over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. And obviously they got that success a little bit quicker. And that was absolutely fantastic. But I would put it down to those 2 key areas, and then having 2 fantastic people and athletes that were willing to commit to that and give their unconditional commitment to each other in doing it. And it was nice to see some magic come together, really.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. So magic of a doubles team clearly is better than 2 people playing singles on the same court. So what I hear around the world all the time is your side of the court, my side of the court, your ball, my ball, coaching, transition, and all that stuff goes out the window, I presume, with your communication, your team talk.
Yeah, even something as simple as, I didn't lose my serve, we lost our serve. You know,
Yeah.
it's a simple terminology, but just having everything to the point that it's a we. It's we do this, we did that, we found a way today. And those terminologies are something that we're maybe not used to doing in tennis. I think the human brain naturally goes to blame. And I think that's certainly a challenge I've seen on the doubles tour, is that people are looking to blame. I'm not saying that the girls don't have their days, but that's been something that they've agreed to. Those are the non-negotiables. The challenge now is to have sustainable success, and it's now about going, okay, brilliant, that happened. How do we now almost know what we've done, continue progressing, and be able to continue with that blueprint, and that's obviously, we're now here in Australia. We know there's going to be some challenges along that way. There's going to be some expectation challenges. There's going to be target on the back challenges. But I think if you keep your head down and you believe in what you're doing, and you continue to have that growth mindset, and they've proven that they have the level, and I see no reason why over a period of time they're not going to have their strong weeks, as long as they stick together as a team.
Yeah. Creating team is amazing. So that's not just about mindset, I presume. That's about tactics and other things. Talk about the creation of team, if you would.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I mean, it's actually, I would say one of the big things for me on that is around trusting obviously the word trust is big, but trusting that you are playing with the correct intention, and that's been, something that we've talked a lot about. And in particular, when we're talking about setting up doubles, is setting up your partner.
Yeah.
It's not about creating individual shots. So it's about one, understanding signature plays and plays that you as a team are going to get success from. And then it's about you trusting that they are going to commit to that. So that might be something as simple as, if the ball goes out wide, you're going to commit to a fast return down the line, so that then the other player can cut across into the other service box and cut the ball off. If you make that move and your partner goes cross court, then you look stupid. So it's about having those tactics and those players in place, but also it then comes down not just about execution, but it comes down to commitment of intention, and that starts to then build a big trust. When you're picking a partner, and if I was working with Gaby before she picked Erin, one of our big discussions around Erin was, how is she going to complement her from a tactical standpoint, and what we saw in the strengths that Erin brings to the court massively complement the skills then that Gaby has on the court. If you've got two Gabys, do they win a Grand Slam? Probably not. If you've got two Erins, probably not. So there's also some intelligence in that side of things as well, and then refining that as you go. But yeah, certainly it's been a privilege to be a part of their journey in this last 6 months, and long may it continue, really.
And Gabby's the net enforcer, I gather. She's the key predator.
Yeah, she is, and she's also the conductor. She's there's certain players you see on doubles courts that you go, oh my God, they're conducting the match here. From a tempo standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, from an energy and way that you are, because so much of doubles is about the impact that you have on your opponents. And we know that I've been very fortunate to have been mentored by the great Louis Caillé, and Louis's words ring in my head, very, very clearly, that, look, Dan, ultimately tennis is a muscle relaxant sport. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply pressure and stress to our opponents, so that then in the moments they're playing with stress, their muscles aren't relaxed, and that's going to give us the best chance of winning 52% of the points. We're not going to win every point, but just by constant, relentless territory movement, positioning, commitment to the right intentions, will pay dividends over a period of time. And that's something, again, fair play to Gaby and Erin, they've bought into that. But I think a lot of tennis players need to, because it's not about winning every single tennis point. It's about giving yourself the best chance to win 52% of tennis points over a period of time. And that will give you a chance to have some sustained success. So yeah. I can't come and speak to anybody about doubles without giving a lot of credit to the great Louis Caillé as well.
Yeah, genius. It's all about winning those two points more. One thing that competitive amateur doubles players should take away from this, just one thing.
Pick a good partner. Would be one. Pick a good partner. No, I think
complementary partner rather than good.
Yes, exactly. Pick the right partner for you. And when I'm saying on that, if you get a choice, but the right partnership will from a tactical and complementary standpoint, and a energy team mentality standpoint, will beat two better tennis players within a range. You stick Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova against club players, even if they don't get on. So I would say that would be a big one. I think understand that it is a team and it is a partnership. The other one that I would say is, don't be afraid to let somebody hit a winner down the line in the tram lines. And I see it around the world.
Cover your lines, cover your lobs, all rubbish.
people are just standing there waiting for that one ball to go in the tram line. You know, and they might get one at 1-all 15:30, but let's see if they can find that small spot when it's 5-all 30-all. So
Yeah.
I think that's something that it all levels. I think that's a really important point to take on as well.
Beautiful. Dan, thank you very much for spending the time getting out to the Melbourne Arena, and good luck to you, Gaby and Erin. We'll be watching your progress, and you're on BBC,
Mark,
I gather.
In a couple of days' time, so they've finally given in to the Geordie accent. So let's see if we can bring a little bit of colour to the BBC on Monday.
Conquer the world, one viewer at a time with the Geordie accent.
Absolutely. But
Cheers,
thank you
man.
for having me, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you
Cheers.
very
Bye-bye.
much. It's a great chat.